Noam Chomsky, a titan of linguistics, a political activist, a prolific author. Chomsky's influence is undeniable. His words challenge conventional thought and ignite debate. In his seminal work, Secrets, Lies, and Democracy, Chomsky dissects our democratic systems, exposing manipulation and deceit. Chomsky's central argument, true democracy, is under threat from the very institutions tasked with upholding it. He implores us to question narratives and actively engage in the democratic process. At the heart of Chomsky's critique lies the media. He argues that the media is deeply embedded within power structures, shaping public opinion to serve the powerful. Chomsky introduces the concept of manufacturing consent, where public opinion is molded through strategic communication. This manipulation is often subtle, achieved through selective framing and language. The media, by choosing specific words and phrases, can subtly influence how we interpret events. A government crackdown might be labelled as restoring order, while a popular uprising might be painted as chaos. Chomsky argues that the notion of choice in a democratic society is often an illusion. The political spectrum is artificially narrowed to serve powerful interests. Money in politics plays a key role, with candidates beholden to wealthy donors. Lobbyists shape legislation, drowning out the voices of ordinary citizens. This creates a system less responsive to the public, leading to disillusionment and apathy. The media's obsession with profit exacerbates the problem. Sensationalism trumps substance, reducing complex issues to sound bites. This superficial information numbs the public, leading to cynicism and disengagement. Dissenting voices are marginalized, not through overt censorship but subtle means. Chomsky argues that essential democratic ideas, dissent, critique, questioning authority, are stifled. Chomsky argues that governments frequently engage in deliberate deception. Political deceit often takes subtle forms, like selective use of information. Governments highlight supportive facts while concealing negative information. They exploit fear to manipulate public opinion, pushing through controversial policies. Euphemisms and doublespeak sanitize harsh realities, masking true intentions. Chomsky draws parallels between governments and the emperor's new clothes. Governments get away with falsehoods because the public fails to see through the charade. The media amplifies the government's narrative, marginalizing dissenting voices. Chomsky urges individuals to question narratives and seek alternative information. Education should foster critical thinking to prevent becoming passive consumers of propaganda. Chomsky argues that governments manufacture the appearance of consensus. Opinion polls can be manipulated to legitimize government policies. Propaganda promotes agendas, demonizes opponents, and shapes public opinion. Dissent is discouraged, and conformity is rewarded, silencing opposition. This manufactured consensus allows governments to operate with impunity. Chomsky turns his attention to public apathy. He argues that apathy is a manufactured phenomenon, cultivated by those in power. The complexities of political issues lead to a sense of helplessness. This learned helplessness creates passive consumers of information. Apathy breeds more apathy, entrenching the power of the status quo. Chomsky argues that apathy comes at a steep price. Disengaged citizens surrender their power, leading to unaccountable institutions. Apathy affects the most vulnerable, whose grievances are ignored. A healthy democracy thrives on active participation and accountability. Indifference to suffering and injustice leads to moral decay. Despite his scathing critique, Chomsky does not succumb to despair. He firmly believes in the power of ordinary people to reclaim their democracy and to build a more just and equitable society. However, this transformation, he stresses, requires a conscious effort to break free from the chains of apathy and to embrace the principles of active citizenship. Chomsky calls for a radical shift in perspective. urging individuals to recognize their own agency and their capacity to effect change. He argues that even small acts of resistance, when undertaken collectively, can have a ripple effect, chipping away at the structures of power and creating space for alternative narratives to emerge. He emphasizes the importance of education and critical thinking in combating apathy. By equipping individuals with the tools to analyze information critically, to identify bias, and to form their own informed opinions, we can create a citizenry that is less susceptible to manipulation and more likely to engage in meaningful political discourse. Chomsky also stresses the importance of community organizing and collective action. When people come together, share their stories, and organize around shared values, they amplify their voices and increase their capacity to effect change. He argues that social movements driven by grassroots activism have historically been powerful catalysts for social and political transformation, demonstrating the transformative power of collective action. Throughout Secrets, Lies, and Democracy, Chomsky meticulously documents instances where governments and powerful institutions have sought to silence dissent and suppress information that challenges their narratives. These attempts to control the flow of information, he argues, are not merely an assault on freedom of speech. They strike at the very heart of a functioning democracy, where open debate and the free exchange of ideas are essential for holding power accountable. Chomsky cites numerous examples of whistleblowers and journalists who have faced persecution for exposing uncomfortable truths. From Daniel Ellsberg, who leaked the Pentagon Papers revealing the extent of US involvement in Vietnam, to Chelsea Manning, who exposed war crimes committed by US forces in Iraq and Afghanistan, those who dare to lift the veil of secrecy often face severe consequences. These individuals, Chomsky argues, are not criminals but heroes, acting in the public interest by exposing wrongdoing and holding the powerful accountable. Yet instead of being lauded for their courage, they are often demonized by those in power, branded as traitors or spies, and subjected to legal persecution and public smear campaigns. This chilling effect, Chomsky warns, has a profound impact on public discourse. When whistleblowers and journalists are silenced, the space for dissent shrinks, and the public is denied access to crucial information that is essential for making informed decisions about their own governance. This creates a climate of fear and self-censorship, where individuals are less likely to speak out against injustice for fear of reprisal. Chomsky argues that the influence of money in American politics is so pervasive that it undermines the very foundations of democratic representation. He points to the exorbitant cost of running for office, which effectively creates a system where only the wealthy or those with access to wealthy donors have a realistic chance of attaining political power. This financial barrier to entry, Chomsky argues, has a profound impact on the political landscape. Candidates are often beholden to their wealthy benefactors, prioritizing their interests over the needs of ordinary citizens. This creates a system where corporate lobbyists and special interest groups hold disproportionate sway over policy decisions, while the voices of ordinary Americans are drowned out. Chomsky cites numerous examples of legislation that has been crafted to benefit wealthy corporations and individuals at the expense of the working class and the poor. From tax cuts for the wealthy to deregulation of industries that harm the environment and public health, Chomsky argues that the political system is rigged in favor of the wealthy and powerful. This systemic bias, Chomsky argues, is further exacerbated by the role of money in shaping public opinion. Political campaigns spend vast sums on advertising and public relations, often employing sophisticated marketing techniques to influence voters. This creates an uneven playing field where candidates with access to greater resources can effectively buy their way into office. Section 3. Manufacturing consent. The media's role in the invasion of Iraq. Chomsky argues that the media played a crucial role in manufacturing consent for the 2003 invasion of Iraq. He contends that far from providing objective and critical coverage of the Bush administration's claims about Iraq's weapons of mass destruction and its alleged links to al-Qaeda, the mainstream media largely uncredited uncritically echoed the government's narrative, effectively becoming a mouthpiece for propaganda. Chomsky points to the failure of the media to scrutinize the Bush administration's claims, to challenge its assertions, and to provide a platform for dissenting voices. Instead, he argues, the media largely presented the administration's case as fact, creating a climate of fear and urgency that made it difficult for the public to critically assess the situation. This failure of the media, Chomsky argues, had devastating consequences. The invasion of Iraq, based on false pretenses, led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands of innocent people, destabilized the entire region, and fueled the rise of extremist groups like ISIS. The media's complicity in this tragedy, Chomsky contends, highlights the dangers of a press that is too willing to toe the government line, even when it means sacrificing its journalistic integrity. Chomsky's analysis of the media's role in the Iraq War serves as a stark reminder of the importance of a free and independent press in a democratic society. When the media fails to hold power accountable, when it becomes a tool for propaganda and manipulation, the consequences can be catastrophic. Section 1. Echoes of Warning. Chomsky's Secrets, Lies and Democracy reveals unsettling truths about modern democracy. The book warns of forces eroding a just society. Published in 1994, its message is urgent today with misinformation and polarization. Chomsky argues the threat to democracy often comes from within. Power operates through subtle manipulation, not overt coercion. Media often acts as a mouthpiece for the powerful. Political deceit is systemic, woven into governance. Governments manipulate information to maintain power. This manipulation is often subtle and normalized. Chomsky explores public apathy. Even with knowledge, citizens often remain indifferent. This apathy is cultivated by those in power. Section 2. A Call to Action. Despite the bleakness of his assessment, Chomsky does not offer a counsel of despair. Instead, he issues a resounding call to action, urging us to recognize our own agency. Democracy is not a spectator sport. It requires constant vigilance and active engagement. Chomsky stresses the importance of critical thinking as an antidote to manipulation. He urges us to question narratives and seek alternative sources of information. Dissent is the lifeblood of a healthy democracy. Collective action can shift the balance of power and create a just society. Secrets, Lies and Democracy is a call to reclaim our democracy. The responsibility for safeguarding our freedoms rests on each of us. Section 3. Safeguarding our future. In a world grappling with complex challenges from climate change to economic inequality to the erosion of truth itself, the insights offered by Chomsky in Secrets, Lies and Democracy are more relevant than ever. The book serves as a stark reminder that the struggle for a just and equitable society is an ongoing process, one that demands our constant attention and active participation. As citizens of a democracy, we must remain vigilant in the face of attempts to manipulate our perceptions, to silence dissent, and to erode our freedoms. We must embrace our role as active participants in our own governance, holding our leaders accountable and demanding that they uphold the principles of transparency, accountability, and justice. Chomsky's work is a testament to the power of ideas to challenge the status quo and to inspire change. His unwavering commitment to truth, his courage in speaking truth to power, and his belief in the potential of ordinary people to create a better world continue to resonate with readers decades after his words were first published. Secrets, Lies, and Democracy is not just a book. It is a call to awaken from our slumber, to shed our apathy, and to reclaim the promise of a truly democratic society. A society where power resides with the people, where truth prevails over propaganda, and where justice is a reality for all.